So, ladies and gentlemen, game number one in the best of three series at the winner bracket. We are actually in the winner bracket final of our tiebreaker for the third qualifier, the last chance qualifier for Dreamhack Tour. Sounds a little bit complicated. It's a little bit complicated. Bottom line is, whichever one of these two teams wins now has a chance to participate in the last chance qualifier to qualify for Dreamhack Tour. I'm going to let that settle for a moment. Infernal Shrines is map number one, and well, I'm also not alone today. I have AntiHero actually with me, and we're going to bring you the coverage in this game now as well. But we have a false stat ban, and it looks like CLG is looking again at a ban on Illidan. So, AntiHero, talking about the bans here, what do you think? Is there any surprise to you right now?
I think Evil Murkies banning Fawcett, it's always possible to look forward into a Vikings composition, Fawcett being a really good pick against that. Also Abathur maybe. Illidan banned out, it's like Fawcett overall is also a strong hero, but like Illidan banned out here, it's kind of like he's a little bit stronger, and it also kind of enables that playstyle where the one team has to play around Illidan and the other team plays only with Illidan. So it's kind of like the teams don't want to go into that.
We have a Thrall actually a first pick here for the Evil Murkies, so Casualty Gaming could get into that Kel'Thas. When we're talking Infernal Shrines, we have seen, I would say, a little bit of a focus on Kel'Thas in particular. I mean, overall, he has, of course, spiked a lot. You can play Kel'Thas here. We've seen also a bit of a rise of Stitches when it comes to the competitive play, since with the Slam build, you get a lot of value on the Shrine itself. It's not quite like a first pick or anything, but it's one of the tanks that is definitely a bit more popular than on other maps even. Thrall picked usually means that we have a Sonya as a counter pick. Oftentimes that's at least the case. And Casualty Gaming is actually looking at both of them at this point.
Yeah, they hovered over the Sonya and the KT for now, and I'm kind of surprised that Evil Murkies went into the Thrall immediately, because KT on this map provides you with, overall he's a strong hero, right? And then like he provides with flame strikes and chain bombs and the Phoenix, a lot of clear on the Shrine itself, and they actually don't even pick him up. They pick Sonya and Tassara instead.
I mean, I can understand why, but I still feel like it's a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, I understand that they want to get Tassara away from Evil Murkies,
Yeah.
and they wanted to pick maybe Sonya now because they were fearing the ban against it. But I would have rather liked to see Tassara and KT here. Maybe even Murden KT to make it like a solid composition.
You can even play Sonya KT in this case, so you can even
Yeah.
pick those two, and I wouldn't have minded that at all. The interesting part for me is, like, I mean, Evil Murkies, they kind of, either Kel'Thas is going to be picked right now or he's going to be banned. I don't think there's any way that we're going to see Kel'Thas reach the next pick phase if the Evil Murkies don't pick him up at this point.
Yeah, we do not see any tank pick yet. So basically there's no denying of tanks right now, except Evil Murkies might pick one and wants to deny the one special one.
Wow.
But they immediately, kind of wandering on the ways of my insanity, we see Thrall, Draga, and Tyrande. Seeing those three heroes, basically my insanity made it popular to play those three together a lot.
Yep.
So, as also on this map we saw it from them, so I'm not really surprised, maybe also denying the Tyrande to the enemy team. Hovering over the Mirrodin ban right now.
Yeah, banning Mirrodin, a bit afraid of that CC chain. I mean, ETC is basically also a hero that caters towards the same goal, trying to get that pre-stun in. And I cannot believe that Kel'Thas is actually still available, and Casualty Gaming is immediately picking him.
I think
that's a massive mistake.
The one ban on ETC and the one ban on Uta basically enables CLG to just pick KT and Mirrodin here, which is kind of a really good setup here. But also Li Ming is still on the table. We do not have to forget about her. She's not that good on this map because there are a lot of minions in the way on the temple.
And I mean, here is the Stitches now that we talked about. They could go into the Mirrodin, but they prefer Stitches because they want to have the extra wave clear on the shrines. I have to admit that this draft, I feel, is a little bit wonky at times. It really feels like Evil Murkies are undervaluing Kel'Thas at this point.
I do like, for now, the solo Tassada against the lineup Evil Murkies have so far, because they do not have, like, a Vala or like a Lunara, which is poking a lot and kind of making Tassada useless. They, for now, only have burst damage, and Tassada is really good against burst damage with providing shields.
I mean, you can still head into that Karazim, for example. So they have a setup in which they have good damage on Kel'Thas. They have that Sonya as well. They could head into the Karazim if they wanted to. Rhaegar is picked away. Tirana not available. Uther already banned out.
Merlin is still open, but they look forward to picking Johanna here. I'm kind of surprised with that, because playing against Sonya, I mean, Johanna is also good against Sonya, like with her Condemn. But Murden also provides a lot of pressure against Sonya with Thunder Strikes and the stun as well.
Yeah. But Johanna seems like it's going to be her for now, and the Casual Logic Gaming, I'm really interested to see what they're going to pick up next. I feel like it has to be a second support for them. Kael'thas has the damage that they need, and they have a really, I mean, their setup is great, I feel. They have Stitches for AoE damage, they have Kael'thas basically catering towards the same goal, a Tassadar with the Storms as well, they enable Sonya. Their setup is looking really solid. The Murkies, as you said, it's a lot of single target damage in particular, especially if they get a lockdown with Tyrande here. Which is something where Muradin for rotations would help you too. So they hover over the Johanna for a long time. You can really see that this is not an easy decision for them.
Yeah, I would like to see CLG pick up the Monk here, because looking at Evil Murkies, you first of all deny the Li Ming resets with the Palm. You then do deny the burst of anyone else basically with the Palm as well. You provide some more sustain if there is some Q poke from Thrall, if there's some Li Ming poke, or even the Owls. So I would like to see them heading into this. What they also could pick is Murden still, but it would force them into somewhat of a more tanky composition. They could also go into the Valor or some more damage, but they could also go for like a Dehaka still or Brightwing. There are a lot of options. It depends the way how CLG want to handle this.
Malfurion is a hero that they played a lot. We've been actually talking jokingly before the series that it's going to be a battle over Malfurion, because Evil Murkies love to play Malfurion, so does Casual Logic Gaming. But it really seems like Malfurion is going to be their choice. I mean, of course, Malfurion brings a few things to the table which are very powerful here. As you already pointed out, Monk Charism is actually a good choice for them. I would totally agree on that. Malfurion, maybe a bit more of a comfort pick here for Leo. And we also have, with Malfurion, the option to go Stitches, Hook into Malfurion roots.
Yeah, it's kind of still a little bit greedy with Malf against Li Ming. There might be some potential for some stunlock composition against Malf again. We saw Leo handling it pretty well the last game on Sky Temple against Oink. And yeah, we will look forward to see if Malfurion can keep himself safe.
With the setup here, I kind of feel I have to give an advantage to CLG. What do you think about the draft?
I like CLG's draft also a little bit more than Evil Murkies. Evil Murkies, again, the first 3 picks started off quite well. Then it kind of they still got Li Ming, which is also pretty nice. But I would have preferred the Murden over the Johanna. It basically makes their team composition more passive, unless they go for a Falling Sword combination.
They really lost me a little bit at that Uther ban. I can understand why. If Uther Tassadar is on the opponent's team, then that Sonya, of course, has a lot of freedom in the way that she can actually go into the backline. But letting Kael'thas go like this and then also not banning him out, I feel, is a bit of a mistake there. I mean, we're going to find out in the next game what's going to happen. Keep in mind, this is the first map of potentially 3 Evil Murkies, ladies and gentlemen, going up against Casual Logic Gaming on Infernal Shrines. Game number 1, everybody, Evil Murkies versus Casual Logic Gaming. To the left side of the map, we have Q on Rhaegar for the French team, Tic Tac on Tyrande, Tank for the win is playing a Thrall, Donatan on Johanna, and Arcane on Li Ming. To the right side of the map, we're seeing the Polish team, Casual Logic Gaming, here in this winner bracket final with Kreku on Tassadar, Leo from Korea on Malfurion, Shiku on Sonya, Nika on Kael'thas, and Juve is playing Stitches. The team that takes the series will advance to tomorrow's qualifier, the Last Chance Qualifier. This is the tiebreaker that we're seeing here. I'm Khaldor, with me is AntiHero, and we're going to have a look at this first map in the best of 3 series.
Yeah, so we're starting off with quite the normal talents, I would say. Oh, I paused already. We see, though, the Mana Addict. It's quite interesting. In EU, it didn't get picked a lot. I saw it in Korea a lot to go for Mana Addict, because you can more rely on getting the globes easier in a team environment than you can do in solo queue. But it's still always kind of risky to that point when you till you get the mana barrier.
Blizzard actually buffed the talent also a little bit in the last patch, like in the sense that it's easier for you to actually get that quest talent completed, so you only need 20 of the globes at this point. Talking talents, you already mentioned that we have pretty normal talents here. In the case of Sonya, we're actually seeing a block taken. We're having also Malfurion going into the Moonburn. And we have for Stitches, Chew Your Food as a level 1 talent, which is actually kind of interesting if you think about the way that Stitches is being played mostly on this map. In most of the cases where you have double front line, and in this case we're counting Sonya as part of that front line, you actually see a bit more of a focus on the slam build, just so they get you more value going into a shrine fight.
Yeah, there was like when you make the math about chew your food versus the hungry for more, basically until the point when you get like double-digit globes or something, chew your food is better, basically in early game. But going more towards the late game, especially on like triple lane maps like this one, you will get a lot of globes with rotations. On this map, most of the times you see the rotations between the mid and bot, even though it's not like the greatest rotation, which you can compare to like Tomb of the Spider Queen or like Dragonslayer. But yeah, oh, the double unpause.
Fail fish right there. So yeah, the double pause. But yeah, as you already said, a bit of a focus here, or a bit of a shift in the way that Stitches is being built for this. He's like the main tank, so that's one of the reasons why they were trying to go for a bit more sustainability. We're having Power Hungry on level 1 for Liming, and the hook already happening here. Trying to go for Danatan, he moves away though. And we have the only hero without a talent choice so far, Tyrande, and she goes into Seasoned Marksman, so we're actually going to see a bit more of a damage Tyrande trying to go for the auto attack damage here. Probably gonna head on level 4 then into the Searing Arrows.
Yeah, she probably thinks that going for Owl and the poke build therefore is not really that great against Tassada and Malfurion, so she wants to go get rid of that and go for more burst damage here.
Tank against Shihu at the top lane, already eating quite a lot of damage here. Tank, by the way, on level 1 still went into the Rolling Thunder, so he has that mana sustain that you oftentimes need to really win the lane, and that's going to help him a lot. The rotation at the bottom of the map is happening with a 4-man, and the hook again, Tic-Tac, is being hit here, but Johanna is still zoning, using the Condemn to make sure that Tic-Tac is not in too much trouble.
Yeah, one of the more important things about this map is to have a solid top laner, because most of the times you're rotating between mid and bot, and you have kind of a bigger way, a longer way towards the top. And so Thrall basically, he cannot really lose this lane because he has more sustain than Sonya. And it's kind of interesting that sometimes when you get poked low as Thrall, you can just throw your wolf through the 7 minions which are approaching to head against each other, and you basically get 1.5 stacks of your passive going already, which is kind of helping Thrall to win this lane matchup.
Yeah, and also we have the Shrine at the top lane right now announced, so Thrall already looking pretty solid there. But overall, we are having still the first minions taken on the side of Shihu for his team, for CLG, and they also hit the level 4 just a few seconds earlier, but the rotation is already underway. So Stitches and Sonya need to be a bit careful here.
It's kind of good for CLG right now. They were pushing towards the bottom, forcing Danatan to clear this one wave to not lose XP, and now they're approaching with 3 people immediately towards the top, and look where Danatan is. He's kind of far away.
He's really far away, but Stitches is being attacked here, went into the amplified healing. Juve is low and is able to escape. Tassada once again with the shield. Of course, the Shattered Ground has been taken for Sonya to provide a little bit more AoE on those fights on the Shrine. Elun's Grace also on the side of Malfurion, trying to capitalize a little bit on the extra range on the basic abilities, which is going to help especially with a hook into root, which we are going to see a bit more often in this game.
Maybe we could also see some more build on the Moonfire here.
Yeah, well, for now, that's the kill against Thrall, so getting the hook in, also then immediately the Gravity Lapse, followed by a root. Very nice lockdown against Thrall, and they get rewarded with a good kill here. Attempt by Tic-Tac to go for a quick snipe against Tassada though, but he's able to shift away in the last moment. Level 4 talent, by the way, is the Energy Royal that we have here, so the cooldown reduction on the Gravity Lapse, and the first Punisher easily being taken by the red team.
Yeah, the red team having more wave clear, especially with Sonya starting off getting like 15 minion skeletons already on the Shrine, is kind of a big lead they already had, while Johanna was still at the bottom.
Yeah, usually with the first Punisher you don't get too much done. In this case, they don't even take down one of the towers.
Yeah,
they spread the love a little bit, but that's about it.
They buffed it a little bit, but it's still not too strong. But we saw them heading towards the other lanes and soaking it, while the Evil Murkies had to deal with it as 4 guys.
Yeah, so Danatan was at the bot lane trying to get some experience for his team. I mean, both of the teams roughly equalizing in experience. It's a slightly that we have for the casuals. Nothing too crazy just yet. The next few Punishers are of course going to be a little bit more important, but it still rewards them with an earlier level 7 talent that they might be able to use to put some extra pressure on Danatan and the bot lane.
Yeah, we see the case of Sonya during the camps with Tassada here, which is basically which he does better than Thrall in that case, and we see maybe a gank towards the top here.
Yeah, Gravity Rush, top gank. In this case, Tacita or Kel'Thas is actually eliminated. Very nice pick on the side of the Evil Murkies. At the bot lane, there was pressure against Danatan at the same time. We're having now also last bites taken on the side of Stitches, which is actually something that he can use on the shrines against the minions quite nicely. Enduring growth over the potential cleanse, and at the bot lane again, the pressure play against Danatan. Double battle momentum, by the way, taken once on the side of Tyrande and also on the side of Johanna. So 2 heroes with cooldown reduction on the side of the Evil Murkies.
I'm kind of in. It's kind of interesting that Danatan went into the amplified healing. He does have double supports, but you really don't want to use your heals too much on the Johanna. So you're not getting all of those, and then you have Thrall, which kind of wants to get those. So it's kind of an odd pickup for me. I mean, you have the Loss of Hope, which basically supply you with enough healing already, especially with the passive life regeneration here.
I mean, with Rhaegar, you have at least the advantage that you get normally some of the chain heals even hits you when you are not the main target, so that can help a bit. With the double support, I guess they were really trying to make sure that if Danatan is in need, he's going to be able to survive. We have, by the way, on level 4, focused attack taken on the side of Tyrande. We talked about the possibility of going into the Searing Arrows, which in this case has not been taken. Shrine against up on the map in the mid lane here. But a huge pressure play at the bottom of the map still, with 3 heroes committing to the wall. They're trying to get into the earlier level 10 now.
Yeah, and also the hard camp at the top pushing for the blue side right now. They also not totally giving up on the shrine in the middle, CLG that is, but I mean, Shiro alone is not gonna deal with 3 or 4 opponents there.
He's getting a couple of those minions, but not enough. The level 10, on the other hand, is going to be there soon. But in the end, the Punisher should go towards the Evil Murkies. Yep, there it is, already claimed. Level 10 is still not there. That's actually a bit of a problem right now for CLG. They finally hit their 10, but it's too late to really capitalize on the ability. And that Punisher should actually allow the Evil Murkies to take 1 or 2 towers down, and that would allow them to hit their heroics as well.
There was a big mistake by Kriko actually getting hit by the Punisher before entering the gate.
Yep.
So the Punisher doesn't jump in only just now. Basically, Punisher didn't get as much damage as it should have.
Oh, the kill against Kel'Thas now too. And that, of course, is one of the biggest problems. Actually, something that you see in Hero League a lot, that teams are not really coordinated enough to bait the Punisher in. In this case, a bit of a misplay by Kreko, and that results with an entire wall taken out. And not only that, there's pressure and damage put on the tower and on the fort as well. So with that small misplay there, all of a sudden we see the Evil Murkies even ahead in experience, and also picking up a second kill against Kel'Thas.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird spot for CLG to be in right now. They want to get some more levels for KT to get even stronger, but it's also that the Evil Murky composition is also relying on Li Ming heavily. She went into kind of like a TP build here, so she quite ramps up in power.
Yeah, I mean, if you go Calamity, then especially when we're talking about the Shrine, you can of course get quite a lot of extra damage against the minions, but also in the team fights you have a huge amount of damage potential, especially when those resets hit. You can make quite some plays. Question, of course, is how much influence is Li Ming going to have in the later stages. When we talk about Infernal Shrines, it's really just that Kel'Thas value that they get with all of the AoEs over the Li Ming, who oftentimes has a bit of trouble really putting the orb and also the missiles into the shrine fights. She can poke from the outside, but you usually don't get as much value as you get with a good AoE hero.
It's kind of interesting looking at the compositions again that we have double support against double support, so the fights are not gonna get decided by just poking alone. There has to be like a good hook or Johanna engaging on the enemy team, and we see a Starfall going on here.
Yeah, Starfall and Leo, well, they're countering with a Phoenix here, and they also steal the camp away, so they take this one. We're having still both of the teams heading into level 13. Unstoppable has been used on the side of Johanna, going to the Iron Skin to dodge the roots here. That was an important one. Arcane again with a Disintegrate, trying to zone them out a little bit. But that level 13 talent is going to hit faster for CLG, and they're already on their way to the top lane to secure a few early minion stacks on the Shrine.
Yeah, CLG gonna be level 13 a little bit earlier, I suppose. But it's still... I think that the red team CLG that is has a lot more potential of actually securing the shrine. Li Ming isn't that great on clearing the skeletons. Johanna isn't anymore, since they removed the minion damage from Night Tech spawn on the skeletons itself. Thrall is also not that great. Rhaegar is really good with his lightning shield, and Tyrande also doesn't really add to that as well.
Yeah.
So with Katie and Sonya and Tasada and Stitches, they're all really great to basically clear the skeletons here.
And that's one of the reasons why they don't even bother with it. I mean, the Evil Murkies are just saying like, yeah, you have fun with the Punisher, we're gonna push the bot lane instead. And they will take that fort. Yeah, Leo and Kreku are trying to defend. Nika is also waiting in a bush, trying to see if he can maybe go for a flank and take someone down. Punisher has been taken. And that's actually like a pretty tricky Punisher to take down. That's an arcane Punisher right there. And even though that bad boy got nerfed, he still can dish out a lot of damage thanks to those arcane sentries.
Yeah, it's gonna do a lot of damage. Only tank for the win is is fighting against it right now. And the middle is also getting pushed in slowly by minions.
Yeah, once again, Danatan might be in trouble here. Gets hooked again. Fission Bomb has been taken, by the way. Danatan is about to get taken out. That was a great force wall that was used by Tassadar here.
Good setup by CLG there.
Yeah, really well done. And I mean, now they are pushing into the middle as well. And with especially Kel'Thas going into the Fission Bomb on level 13, once he hits 20, that's of course going to be brutal.
I think it's time to go for some camps with CLG, that is. They should try to maybe innovate as well, because Johanna is down for now, but they're looking forward to a top gank.
Yeah, top gank against Thrall, bot lane, there we have another camp taken in the meantime. Both the teams on 13, full heal build again for Malf. Tank is doing what he can, tries to go for a kill against Nika, and is getting it! So they are trading here as Arcane and Tic Tac move in, and with a bit of luck they might be able to pick off Stitches too. But Leo is already here, Kreku as well, so there's no chance to take the tank down. But still, a very nice trade here for the Evil Murkies, considering that this all started with a 2 versus 1 gank at the top lane.
Thrall maybe should have actually sundered the minion wave to get 7 passive stacks by hitting those, instead of only hitting Kel'Thas there. Even though like he would only get 1 healing off, his team would be faster helping him, and he maybe would have survived, but a 1-for-1 trade isn't that bad either.
Yeah, well, we have bot lane also camp denied right now. By the way, when it comes to like overall damage, siege damage on Li Ming is 72,000, Sonya on 54, hero damage 22k for Kel'Thas, and Li Ming is actually just like taking the or winning the number battle everywhere. Nice timing also now with the camp. Leo is just like waiting, trying to like time that properly with the next shrine. Bot lane already another camp taken, shrine activating this time at the bot lane, which means that Tassadar has to rotate over. But both of the teams have hit level 16, so once again we're gonna see a fight on even talents.
Yeah, looking at the top lane for now, Arcane against Kreku pushing out the minion waves, and it's gonna give a little bit of an advantage to the blue side right now, because the red hardcamp doesn't have a minion wave behind it. But looking at the shrine, I would still give the advantage to CLG.
Yeah, they have position on the shrine already, going for the hook and nearly hitting it. It was a close call. They only get one of the Khazras and that's it. But besides that, we're still seeing that fight happening here. Blessed Hammer also take for Johanna for a little bit more AoE damage. Tenacious Roots on Malfurion are going to give them a hard time though. And we also have now the Nerves of Steel for Sonya with a fishing hook, already trying to make some plays here. Slight lead in minion stacks as we see CLG trying to push onto the shrine. But the Evil Mercs in a decent position, putting pressure on Kreku on his Tassadar here. Tank with very nice flanks, but all of a sudden we are seeing the Phoenix coming down. Starfall, Tyrande is dead. Sundering on Tank didn't really do too much, and CLG is trying to hunt down the Evil Murkies. They're going for Danatan again. Here comes the explosion against Rhaegar. He's dead. Danatan on 500. And is getting moonfired into oblivion. If Leo gets another root in, then he is done for, but he's a bit too slow.
Yeah, and we saw that play again with the Citrus here. He does have a 16-second cooldown on his hook, but he once missed it, and then he waited, the team went a little bit back, secured some of the skeletons, went back, gets a nice hook on Tyrande, and basically enables the team to follow up on that with a nice kill.
Yeah, and right now the bot lane is of course heavily pressured with that Punisher. They're going to get that fort for sure. They're going to burst through the wall at the keep now too. And we have still Sonya in the mid lane, and she's going to try and take another fort down. Danatan is the only one who can really react to it, since everybody else is still attempting to defend. Thrall is at the top lane right now, pushing out the wave, and is going to make his way down to the bottom in just a few seconds. Punisher baited in. Oh. Nice hook against Li Ming. Oh my god, what a play by CLG!
That was insane. And the follow-up also by Nika, basically disabling the potential of Li Ming just jumping back over the wall. It would have been possible with Illusionist granting her more teleport range, but man, that was quite a nice setup here, and they are looking forward to take down the keep at the bottom.
Yeah, that was totally sick, and they get again that root against Tank, Sundering being used. Dimensional Warp makes it possible for Kreku to not only escape, but also get a couple of hit points back. But that hook against Li Ming and the immediate disable, if there's only half a second for Li Ming to teleport away, she'll do it. But in this setup, it was a nice pickup. 6 kills versus 3 now overall. And at this point, CLG is looking strong in this series.
Yeah, but looking again on Citrus, he had those 2 hooks. The game was even. 2 hooks, and basically his team is 1 level ahead and almost looking forward to get the 20 advantage here, which could be quite decisive with the next Punisher coming up, which could actually be an arcane one.
Yeah.
So I quite like the position CLG is in. They should maybe try to not invade now because they want to use their 20, but maybe they're going for a hook.
Our Arcane is gonna get a heart attack at some point with all of these hooks trying to aim for him.
The force was pretty nice there.
Oh, and the Ancestral is good too. Tassadar is in a bit of trouble here. Here comes on the other hand Mulf with his Tranquility, already using that, but Stitches also using his Prudic Bile at the same time. Still Trank active, now finally done. The hook again against Thrall. Oh my god, Juve! He has a magnet attached to that thing, hitting them all the time right now. And he's of course going to try and pick up another one if the cooldown is going to be ready. But we still have Li Ming with a bit of a poke.
He does have it ready now, so he's maybe going for one more.
Yep, there we go. And they are doing it again. But there's still the Einskin to consider. Great Force Wall too. Danatan is not out of harm's way yet.
There's a body blocking by Kreku actually with Tassadar.
Very well done. Yeah, he might still escape here, especially with Q jumping in. And they now finally reaching the safety of the fort. But still, that was some very sick plays that we've seen there. Kreku, on the other hand, yeah, he's shifting away here once again. Hook hitting Juve, but they should be able to escape from this one.
Yeah, but we see it again. The burst lineup of Evil Murkies is not really working well against the double support lineup with Tassadar on the side of CLG. And Leo basically able to heal up his whole team there was a pretty valuable asset to the team.
Yeah, and now double Storm Shield, double Hardened Shield. The sustain that they now got on level 20 is sick. And as expected, we're seeing Master Flames taken. I mean, if you see on 13 the Fission Bomb taken, it's more or less a safe bet that Master of Flames is going to be a great talent for you. And that is going to make Kalthas so much scarier than he already is. The setup for them is perfect. Kreku even shifting in, trying to go for a tank. They're isolating him once again. And yes. Thrall has, well, actually...
Juve giving him the escape path.
Wow, that was a bit sloppy there. Juve with a hook and allowing Tank to get away. That was a completely unnecessary hook.
Yeah, so his hook magnet not always working in his favor so far.
Well, he hit the hook. The problem is, it didn't really work too well for them, but yeah, they got the kill still. So against Johanna in this case, as you pointed out. So 8 versus 3, 20. They're going to get an easy pick on the Punisher here once again. CLG is looking strong in this one.
Yeah, the middle fort is still up. It's quite low, but it also enables just to get some percentage off it with Li Ming, Q or W. But I'm pretty sure that they could maybe push for the keep right now with Stitch's pressure.
They will. I think they will.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, if he gets another hook, he was already aiming for Li Ming a little bit earlier.
He's already trying to position himself at some weird place. You can see
it. Yeah, he definitely does. There's the Celestial Wrath now also taken.
The hook.
Oh my god. No way! Again! The kill against Tyrande! What? I mean, Juve is playing like he's a beast.
Juve is on fire. He told his team to basically kill the middle gate, and then he said, I'm going to hook someone, he hooked someone, and again the
What? You gotta be kidding me! Tank is trying to get away, and he barely escapes, but he can't help with the defense now. The Punisher is really low, but still they're all going for the core at this point. There's the hit points already dropping. We're seeing Puric Bile and Stitches. Kalthas with the damage. Tank finally back with the Sundering, but it's already too late. Juve carrying the team together with also, of course, Kalthas here. Great first game for CLG, and they take the series in the best of 3. All right, everybody. Game number 2. The draft has already started. Evil Murkies versus Casual Logic Gaming. And CLG is currently in the lead. We're having at this point Cursed Hollow as our second map. And in this case right now, Illidan is being banned out immediately. This is basically a theme that we've seen so far. Casual Logic Gaming, they don't really seem to want to play Illidan, but they also don't want to play against him. So they ban him out here. And the Evil Murkies, they are going for the ban against the king of Cursed Hollow. Or at least it looked for a moment like they would do that. Falstad was hovered over, but they decided to go into a Tacita ban potentially instead. Again, the disrespect against Kelthas here potentially.
They do ban out the Illidan, kind of the standard ban for
Yeah.
now, and they do ban out the Falstad. I believe that they wanted to not ban Falstad in case of we want to at least get one global with either Dehaka or Falstad, but they decide to still ban the Falstad, and CLG are looking forward to pick the Liming, which is quite strong here to push off the capping of the tribute.
One of the things that was very interesting about Leicester is that Li Ming had actually an absolutely atrocious win ratio.
Yeah, it
And
was like below 20% or something.
I think it was 35, but I'm not 100% certain, so you might be right in that. It was very, very low, no matter
Yeah,
what it
in the
was.
first days she didn't win anything.
Yeah. And on the other hand, you had Kelthas with 75%. So I actually thought that we would see a Kelthas pick early on again. Because Li Ming, of course, you can poke quite nicely around the tribute, which is incredibly strong. At the same time, Kelthas has a very similar approach. Just to get a bit closer to the action if he really wants to make that work. But I'm a little bit curious to see what kind of priority he's going to have in this draft right now, especially after the way that the last match went. But the Murkies, again, with a bit of a melee assassin, bruiser type focus. In this case, though, they pick up the Sonya over Thrall and already have the Tacita on their side now as well that they can use to just like empower her with a double support again.
It's kind of interesting that they take away the two picks CLG picked on the last map, and on this map, I don't like it too much, I have to say. Tacita is solid overall. He kind of fits in every composition with almost every composition on almost every map. But Sonya is kind of weird here. I would have liked Thrall more here because there's no shrine minions you have to fight on, where Sonya's Whirlwind gets a lot of value. So I will say that CLG might look forward into just taking Katie and Thrall, or at least a Thrall pickup on their side.
I wouldn't mind it too much. I mean, the one thing that they have to think about a little bit is the second support. Because Evil Murkies, they could still go into whatever second support they really want to. They could ban one out if CLG doesn't go for support on their own right now. I would definitely like a Kelthas at this point. I really feel that he has been a little bit undervalued in the last game when we looked at the draft. Overall, Casual Logic Gaming had a very nice damage output then, and it seems like they actually go for him. They pick him up. I like that a lot. But in this case, as you pointed out, they could go for a Thrall, they could go for a tank, or they are just going to try and secure themselves a very strong healer right now, because the Evil Murkies, they were kind of leaning a little bit in the last games towards just like picking, or like banning a support out, picking a strong second one for them.
Oh, going
But
for
it is,
citrus.
again, well, let's face it, after those hooks that we saw from Juve in the last game, they probably say like, this guy's on a roll, let's
Yeah.
make sure he can continue that.
I don't think they had to pick it yet. They maybe feared that it's gonna get banned out. But I could see CLG nonetheless just ban out the Rega here to deny the Sonya composition. But I think Thrall, if Evil Murkies doesn't ban it out, it's not too shabby for CLG. They could also just go into a Murden again, as we already seen a lot of times today, just as a double tank lineup, trying to be more solid against Sonya here.
Yeah, I actually think when we're talking about potential support bans also against these two teams, it doesn't feel as effective against against others because they seem to have a very huge hero pool when it comes to supports overall. I mean, like just the willingness to go into like a Malfurion, into a Brightwing is definitely there, and they ban out Thrall right now. With the Sonya already locked down for themselves, a Thrall ban is definitely a solid one, so I like that. Casual Logic Gaming, as you pointed out, they could go into a ban on Rhaegar if they wanted to deny the Tacita Rhaegar combo. But there's actually quite a bit that the Murkies can do here. And let's not forget that Tyrande is also still available, and together with Tacita, she would be a very strong addition to that setup too. Not quite as powerful for Sonya, but still available to just like cancel those channels on all of the tributes.
Going for the Dehaka hover here, at least on the ban. It's a good ban overall, but I don't see Evil Murkies picking Dehaka with Sonya as the solo frontline. So they most likely would have had to pick another tank with that, and then they kind of run low on support and
Yeah,
damage.
I
So
agree.
I don't see the Dehaka ban here.
I actually like completely agree with you. If they pick Dehaka, they have to either get a second, like they have to either let another tank go, which is very unlikely, or they have to let the second support go, and that's also very unlikely. So
Yeah,
CLG could have, I felt, let Dehaka slide for now.
yeah,
They seem to.
they should have banned Uta here. They did it, and which team did it? Evil Murkies did it on the
Yeah,
last map. CLG could have banned Uta here just to get their one-shot combo going with Katie, Li Ming, Stitches, but they kind of banned Dehaka, and so Evil Murkies picks Uta, which basically denies the hook one-shot burst maybe. And going for Vala, which is a solid hero, good against Stitches to not get hooked with the vault. She kind of suffers a little bit against Li Ming and KT, but she can pick up Spell Shield on 13 if she really feels the need to.
this one of the things that you can do. We don't see too often these days, but actually, if you pick Spell Shield in any kind of constellation, you pick it against this setup. Against Kelthas and Li Ming, I mean, there's so much there. Casual Logic Gaming, they can go for Rhaegar since Uther has been picked up by the Evil Murkies. That Tazada Uther combo is definitely doing a lot for them when it comes to the Sonya support. I kind of like the setup for CLG right now a lot, on the other hand. Kelthas and Li Ming are going to be great for them. They have the Rhaegar now as a setup too. We can expect, I would say, a second frontliner for them. What do you think?
I would say a Merlin pick or a ETC pick would be pretty nice here. ETC is kind of weird because they might run into a Rain of Vengeance of Vala, but besides that, also the Divine Shield could also save someone out of the mosh pit. I think Merlin is more solid overall, but ETC could get quite some value with stage dive as well. Or they go into Diablo and surprise us.
Yeah, Diablo would actually not be too bad either. I mean, this is one of the maps where you can run either with Lightning Breath or Apocalypse. Both of them are completely viable in this setup right now, especially since a lot of these fights happen around the tributes where there's very little space. So even if you use an Apocalypse only to zone the opponent away, you just buy yourself a couple of seconds and everybody's just like scrambling, trying to get away from the stun circles. But even with a Lightning Breath, you get a lot of value out of this one. And of course, in the early game, Diablo can really punish heroes that are a bit out of position.
Leoric solo tank?
I am a little bit surprised by that pick, and I don't really think I like that a lot. What do you think about it?
I don't like it as well. I think they needed a bigger frontliner here.
Muradin, Johanna, I mean, it's not like we don't have any options for them right now. There were no huge bans on tanks. The only one that got banned out is Tehaka, which
Muradin
is not
was still
really
open.
a solo tank, so that surprises me a lot.
Like, I don't. I think Murden or ETC would have been the most solid here. Maybe they tried to make something happen with like an Entomb.
Entomb into Rain or Entomb into Strafe even. I mean, no matter what, you can really trap a
Or
target
Leap.
and take it down.
Leap would be kind of interesting, but I do give that draft to CLG. I have
Okay,
to say.
basically, if you go into Tomb Leap, then you're basically just saying our Sonya is too stupid to hit a leap without someone locking her down first. Like
Or-
that
or
would
you-
be a little bit weird.
Or you leap first and then the Entomb follow up.
Wouldn't that basically say the same thing about your Leoric skills?
Yeah. I tried to make something up here to make it work.
I can really see that conversation going like in TeamSpeak. They're like, okay, listen, in order for you to at least hit one Entomb this game, we're going to pick a leap on Sonya so that you get at least that. Think about what happens if he misses the Entomb then on the other hand. I don't know about you, but again, I feel I have to give the advantage to CLG here.
Yeah, I do have to give it as well to CLG. The only thing which I see could be a problem for CLG, their team is playing cooldown heavy, meaning they have Diablo, which relies on his combos, they have Stitches, which relies on his hook, they have Katie, which relies on his spells, same for Li Ming. That's the only thing which is kind of a little bit worse than the side of Evil Murkies, but besides that, I gotta give it to CLG.
Well, we are going to head into Cursed Hollow. K-Prax, thank you very much for the resub, by the way, my friend. Evil Murkies versus CLG, already the lead for Casual Logic Gaming, and we're going to go into the match on Cursed Hollow right now to find out if they can make it to a victory, or if the Evil Murkies are going to come back into the series. So guys, let's jump in and find out which team is going to take it here. Game number 2, everybody, between the Evil Murkies and Casual Logic Gaming. CLG is in the lead, and well, at this point, we are seeing also that we have to kind of adjust our overlay a little bit, which we will do in a second. To the left side this time, we have Casual Logic Gaming. They are already ahead with a 1-0, and I mean, as you can see, Kreku is currently playing Kelthas. We're having Shihu on Stitches at this point, Nika on Liming. We're seeing at the same time Leo currently on Rega, Juve on Diablo. So a little bit of a switcheroo happening, not Juve on Stitches again. At the same time, to the right side of the map, the French team with Uther played by Q. We're seeing Tank for the win on Sonya. We have Tic Tac on Tacida. Danatan on the only tank in the game. He's on their side. We are seeing him on Leoric, and Arcane is playing Vala. So overlay is by now correct as well, and apparently a couple of TeamSpeak problems on the side of the French team here. But AntiHero, of course, casting once again with me. We have talked about that Leoric during the draft already.
Yeah,
we have talked about a couple of things, and right now, looking at Leoric, we have Hopelessness taken.
Yeah, I want to speak about that as well. It's kind of interesting.
It feels a little bit crazy. I mean, if you look at the Leoric plays that we've seen in the past, especially if you're playing him as a solo or as the main tank, reanimation feels like a must pick, right?
I think so as well. Like, Hopelessness gives him maybe the little bit amount of range he needs to get to Stitches and Diablo easier, that they don't just run away, and gives him more sustain. But not having the Globe talent on level 1 makes him much more less valuable, besides having the Drain Hope on someone.
Leoric against a double tank composition can give you a lot of value, especially when we're talking high hit point tanks here. Normally, it's something that you would expect more in a double tank composition, so that you have a main tank at your side, and that's definitely a role that Sonya is not able to fill. She's more the bruiser type. A map where I could see something like this is maybe Battlefield of Eternity, where you're looking at 2 lanes and usually less regeneration globes in particular. But that's definitely an interesting choice that they made here. It really feels like they are so afraid of that double tank frontline that they feel they get enough value out of Leoric to take those down. I personally have a bit of trouble seeing that.
Interesting also, Vala going for the composite arrows on level 1. Some might have thought that she would go into the auto tech build here against double tanks. It's kind of greedy, but I also don't agree with composite arrows, because on level 13, I would like to see her go Spell Shield.
Yeah. I mean, if you go up against Kelthas and Liming, then Spell Shield makes a lot of sense.
They don't have any other damage source than basically magic damage. Diablo also does a lot. Same for Stitches, even though over time. But in general, they do a lot of magic damage. CLG that is. And Vala, I think she needed to go Spell Shield here, meaning that her composite arrows are not gonna get value from the Frost Shot at level 13.
One of the things that we sometimes see, Quacknix, for example, is going into a bit of a similar style. His thought process is that even with the composite arrow not synergizing with the frost shots on level 13, if he goes strafe as well, he at least has the option to stay a bit outside of the fight and poke from a distance. It's not the same amount of utility that you get out of the talent, and since multi-shot got nerfed a couple of patches ago, you don't get that damage, but you have the safety and the slow poke. Might be one of the reasons, but I completely agree with what you just said. I would have expected him to go into more of an auto attack build here as well, so that he has a bit more freedom go on level 13 afterwards.
Yeah, or maybe even go Q build. It's kind of weird against that team comp, but Vala, she's really awkward in that game. I feel like she could have also been kind of a different hero in the draft.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a weird setup that we're seeing for the Evil Murkies right now. I mean, obviously, that is something that they just didn't, at least I hope so, that they didn't just come up with a second ago, so they must have practiced with it a little bit and had success, so they wouldn't use it here, since this is an important game for them. We are still in the winner bracket final, so keep that in mind. Whichever team loses is going to play against Team Oink in the loser bracket final, and the winning team in this series is already qualified for the Last Chance Qualifier for Dreamhack Tour. So yep, we are actually looking at a qualifier for a qualifier. It's a tiebreaker situation that we have. Talking about the tanks for a second again. Stitches, in this case, going also into a slam build. So I like that we have double tank for them, so there's no real need for him to go into one of those sustain builds. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, they already have another frontliner there, and it's looking at the enemy team, they don't really have the biggest like healing over time setup, kind of like if you would have a Monk or Malfurion there. So basically, having the slam damage over time it adds up a lot against Sassad and Uta, which can only provide with like single target sustain.
Danatan, by the way, I'm not quite sure because I got more or less wrecked at the bot lane right now. So Diablo, we talked about him having the like ability to really punish you for being out of position. Yeah, again, we saw it on the minimap. We're a little bit late on the main screen here, but as you can see, Juve actually doing a pretty solid job forcing him to well up already, whereas he himself did not use it yet. And again, goes in again and he gets the kill. Like, Diablo getting a kill against Leoric at the bot lane in a one-on-one situation. That should never happen, right?
Yeah, that's a big mistake by Donathan, actually. He shouldn't die like that. It gives the enemy team a lot of XP. And also he's losing a bit of XP because he doesn't get it in the Wraith form, but not too much.
Yeah, I mean, he's still back, and there is that extra range that we talked about with the hopelessness on level 1. Top lane, on the other hand, has a bit of pressure play going on. It's actually an interesting rotation that we just saw on the side of CLG. They moved towards their own camp, bursted down with 3 heroes. Now they move in again. They didn't lose any experience here. Nice heal on Arcane. Vala is moving back. But it was a very smart move for CLG. They moved in after they bursted a wave away, and they didn't even lose experience. And now they have a Siege Giant camp pushing the top lane with 3 heroes.
He got pushed into the fort, but Wraith walked out of it.
Okay, yeah, he's struggling a little bit at the bot lane.
At least he soaked all the shots, so now his minions can reign free on that lane.
Yeah. I mean, let's put it like this. He's struggling a bit in the sense that he actually got taken out and has a lot of pressure on himself, but he pushes the lane back quite nicely and was able to dish out a lot of damage on the towers and already drained the ammunition.
Yeah, I believe over time he's gonna win that lane, though, with the more sustain.
Well, Boundless Conviction, by the way, the tribute, we haven't really shown it, but it has been picked up by CLG. They had, of course, that big pressure play at the top with the Siege Giant, so it wasn't with the tribute location spawning at the top. It was kind of obvious that they would take it. Fealty onto Death is definitely making it a lot more easier for Danatan now to stay on lane. And this is the moment when Juve is really starting to feel the pressure here. The kill against Danatan was great for him, that definitely helped, but right now he needs a little bit of assistance because in the long run, as AntiHero just pointed out, he's going to lose that lane for sure.
Yeah, also interesting with the Fealty onto Death, he's kind of squishier, he doesn't really have the hardened bones here. So he's kind of going the true Evil Murkies way with dying a lot, so...
Staying true to the team name.
Yeah, staying true to the team name. So going for the Leorki build here.
Yeah. Sunfire Enchantment, by the way, the Zuna build as people call it as well. Tenderizer has now been taken on level 7. We're seeing also a full Wolf build, by the way. Blood and Thunder. The speed on level 1 with the Wolf Run and Feral Heart. Kreko took over for Diablo, which means that the top fight is of course going to have a lot of sustain for them with the tank in position. Leo, nice zoning here, really nice zoning. Leo having a lot of time to go for the tribute, and that's the second one in favor of CLG.
It's not really working out for Evil Murkies here to stall the tributes, and they're already 2 tributes down. And you most of the time say, yeah, we give up some tributes and get the EXP advantage for that. But nothing of that. There's no XP advantage for neither team, so kind of a big advantage for now for CLG.
Exactly, they put the screws on Evil Murkies, and that means that the next 2 tributes, the next 3 tributes actually, are potential cursed tributes against the Evil Murkies, so the French team is definitely in quite a bit of trouble here. At the bot lane, Danatan is eating a lot of damage from Kreku and has to move away now. As pointed out before, he doesn't even have the hardened bones, so that's another argument against him. Kreku again there, or just like going for the living bombs the entire time, just like spamming them out one after another, putting the pressure on Danatan, who has to be back. Kreku does the same thing, both of them moving back to base.
It's kind of a stale situation right now. Sonya does the camps. The hard camp on both sides have been taken, both easy camps are going to be taken. The tribute is gonna spawn approximately 30-40 seconds, so the teams are kind of setting up to get level 10 as well, and trying to get a nice position.
And that's going to be really interesting, especially for Diablo, I feel. What do you think is going to be their rogue ability here? I feel on this map in particular, both of them are absolutely viable for him.
I think Apocalypse is always such a nice decision with KT, because you can force people into awkward positions, maybe sometimes stacking up too much and then getting like more AoE value. Same for Stitches, he slows down people. It's also good to go for the Lightning Breath here with the Putrid Ball, but I would have liked to see Apocalypse here as well.
Yeah, so, well, we have in this case, once again, the fight starting, and level 10 versus 10, Shihu. Whoa, that Entomb is awesome! Stitches down, and Rhaegar with the heals, just barely saving Kreku, who's still not out of the woods yet, and there's the kill. Well done. Danatan, he's eliminated. But that was a very, very great fight here on the side of the French team, getting a double kill against CLG this early.
Yeah, Danatan basically with the flank from the one bottom side bush, getting the nice entomb there, and the Divine Shield basically making sure that Sonya can go deep as she likes to, and then basically the follow-up of the entire team. Rega with a clutch Ancestral on KT, but he still managed to die in the end because he was still caught in the end too.
Yeah, it was really well done here. Not only the strafe then dishing out the damage in the back, but yeah, they did that really nicely. It doesn't really give a massive lead or anything to the Evil Murkies, but it definitely shows that their combo has a bit of potential here and that they can be dangerous with it. So right now, CLG has to wait for the next tribute to really fight there. Their own heroics are coming off cooldown in just a few seconds. They can still make quite a bit happen here. And there's the tribute at the bot lane. And yeah, the fight is more or less starting on the exact same talent and also level again.
Yeah, we still have to look at the situation of poking scenarios. The poking scenarios, even though double support is on the side of Evil Murkies here, they don't really have the sustain supports. Uta is not really known for supporting his teammates throughout the entire time. He has kind of long cooldowns and single target spells, besides his W. So, in the long run, I think with KT poking and Li Ming poking, they should win tribute. So, Evil Murky should look for another entomb play here. And
they will.
Looking for it.
Tank is there in the back, trying to go for it. Diablo being attacked right now. Heal. There it is. Ancestral hitting and hitting hard, but we have the Lightning Breath not doing as much damage as they were hoping for. He has the Entomb against Nika, not doing too much. Danatan is already low, about to fall, and there he is. The counter kill against Diablo on the other hand. He's on 4-second cooldown on the Divine Shield, enabling Sonya again to go deep. Our Arcane is trying to follow it up with some damage on his Vala, having used the Straith as well. Now everybody's in cooldown. Tic Tac with the attempt to channel, but has to retreat here. And we've been talking about all of those heals. Leo is doing really well, and they are in position again. But Danatan is coming back on his Leoric. So is Juflo.
Yeah, it's kind of oh, the Leoric is kind of low, and he will die in the end. And the Engager gets tanked for the win as well.
Yeah, Loki again down, and we have Sonya trying to go for Diablo. Punish him here. Tank is, well, getting shielded all the time by Tassadar, doing really well. And again, the channel against the tribute. Ken Shihui gets the hook against Sonya, and she's basically just pushed around for now. On the other hand, well, cooldowns are all down, and that means that Arcane gets another channel. Really interesting battles right now. And
yeah, the sustain is on the side of CLG right now, but Danatan dying basically enables him to get full HP, full mana again, which basically helped him out a lot.
Yeah, so they are in the situation able to pick up the second tribute, so far it's actually working for them. Leoric, of course, is dying quite a bit here, and without him having reanimation, that is in the later stage of the game a bit more of a problem, since his death timer is going to be longer. But we have no spell shield taken now on level 13 for Vala. We actually see her with a go into the frost shot, but the spell shield still on Sonya, who of course is trying to she's trying to just make sure that they have at least a bit more of a tankier front line, with the Leoric going more into like I die and I'm getting reborn style of play, where he just like plays the Murky.
The problem for now for CLG is how to make Diablo really useful. The last two fights, they didn't really get a lot of value of him using Lightning Breath. He kind of went to be the focus target. Yeah,
again the wall is there. Phoenix already nicely played. Danatan moves in, is looking for an Entomb, of course, again. Starts to move in. Juf once more on the run, getting slowed by Arcane. Divine Shield had to be used. Leo is doing his best to keep his teammates alive, but a nice force wall as the follow-up for the Entomb is taking down Kel'Thas, and they are also getting the kill against Stitches. The Evil Murkies make this composition happen. They really make it work, and right now it feels like CLG is actually misplaying these fights a bit.
Danatan always starting off with a really nice Entomb to the fights, which is basically adding a lot of value to the team.
What do you think, like, CLG can... are they misplaying the fights right now? Is it just like the combo that at this point is stronger for them? Especially Diablo feels like he's not getting a lot of value for them.
Yeah, the Lightning Breath really doesn't get a lot of value. He's oftentimes just running around not getting the value of a Lightning Breath. And Citrus isn't tanky enough, same for Diablo, to basically sustain through the fights, yeah.
Yeah, what we're seeing right now is more or less 3 tributes, 1 in a row on the side of the Evil Murkies, and they're all of a sudden a level ahead. Shihu again with the attempt to go for the hook. But what I really like is that, yeah, that synergy play with the isolation that we see with the Entomb and also the Force Wall. They play a pretty cool game with that, and they always... I feel like they always drive a wedge between the heroes of the team for CLG and force them to yeah, fight very awkward fights for them, where they get a good shot at Kelthas, for example.
It's also a really, really good play by Q to always keep the Sonya alive, giving her the cleanses, giving her the divine shield, so she can do the damage. That's
Yeah, we
really
could actually
important for them.
we could actually see a big problem for Rhaegar to keep everyone alive. He several times had to use the ancestral healing for Diablo, which is not really what you want to do, and then he couldn't save Kelthas anymore.
Yeah, it's the one thing we mentioned in draft already. It's about the cooldown play for now. And the cooldowns really get mismanaged for now from the side of CLG, and they kind of get engaged on while they cannot burst Sonya, basically.
Big play also now with the bosses taken, and the boss at the top lane is going to get a lot more value for Evil Murkies, because at the bot lane, where CLG got their own boss, there's still a fort, so that's going to help to defend against the boss, whereas this one is already attacking the wall at the keep. A huge play for them. We have Executioner now taken, Unyielding Despair and Crushing Hope, so a lot of damage and pressure against the tank line. And the level 16 talent, of course, overall already giving an edge to the Evil Murkies.
Uta with kind of an interesting 16. It's hard focus this time.
Yeah, not going into the benediction here, so
yeah,
hard
I
focus
haven't seen
instead.
that one quite a while.
Yeah, and the one thing that I have to still say is that I feel like in the late game, when we have level 20, I would still give a power spike to the Polish team over the French.
I do not like that CLG still went for the full slam build. They should have realized that at 16 they kind of need to make something happen with the hook range. For now they're not making anything happen with the slam build, because they just die, so they rather should focus more on going to the range and poke battle, which they kind of can win out on. And for now they're like going more into the fighting composition again, and for now they still haven't won a single fight yet. Maybe that changes with the 16 talents, but it's more about even getting the resets.
Danatan getting blown away here. Nice trap at the bot lane. What do you think about the 20s, when we have the Hellstorm available, when we're going to see especially Liming with the Temporal Flux potentially, and also, of course, on the side of Kelthas, the Master of Flames?
I do not think it's going to get better for the side of CLG.
Okay.
I think Uta with the redemption is gonna get a lot of value. In the fights he can basically frontline for his team as well, to just die and come back. But he doesn't have to do that, he can also just stay back and take Storm Shield. And also Danatan is gonna get his Hardened Shield. All the... I forgot the talent name, the auto attack talent on level 20, which does half damage. The
Spectral Leech.
The Spectral Reach, which also gets like a lot of value against the tanks. And Blink on Vala is really good.
Yeah, in this case, I mean, we have the curse now against the French team. Oh, Kreko has to be really careful. Arcane wants the kill, might get it. Ancestral is saving Kelthas for now. And we have level 17 versus 18. Well, Leoric is down, but the problem is that he's, of course, still in the fight over here. Juve is moving away. We have still camps pushing in the mid lane, and the top is also being pressured. The Stitches being dead is a huge problem right now on the side of CLG. They're getting the poke in on the other hand. Yeah, Leorki is going to be back, has to TP for now. Top lane Fort has been eliminated, mid lane Fort has also fallen. That helps the Polish team to get some experience back, or at least close that gap slowly and steadily. The fight overall, it was really just like CLG trying to hunt for kills, but it got turned around against them when Stitches died.
Yeah, CLG only is able to manage to burst down a single guy, and then the team fight in total turns around to the favor of Evil Murkies, with Sonya just pressuring through with the Uta Divine Shield and the cleanses.
Yeah, I could still see a bit of a problem happening for the Evil Murkies once that Kelthas hits his level 20, considering that a lot of these fights have started in very narrow areas where you get a lot of value out of that. So be curious to see how that's going to go once that we have the Storm talents. But for now, Evil Murkies, they are level ahead still, and they're doing pretty well here.
I'm interested in how CLG is trying to get level 20, if they want to try to make an interesting play on the Evil Murkies, or if they just try to play it safe. It looks like they're going for the interesting variation against Tank. But
yeah, they want to get the kill at the top.
Yeah. Tank is he's playing really smart. He knows no one's on the map, he's giving his team more time to basically get more soak on the map, and as we can see, Danatan and his team are soaking bot and mid lane, giving them the edge to get level 20, the last edge.
I'm really impressed by that Leoric player overall. I mean, we have seen Leoric going just for nice trades. He doesn't really care too much if he dies. I still would argue a bit if level 1 is really giving him the effectiveness that he wants. I mean, considering that in the later stage of the game, death timers might be a bit of a problem, it feels like reanimation would have been the better choice still. But the pick in itself is really working for them, and I did not see that when we had the draft in front of us. But right now, I have to admit that they play a very solid game here with him.
Leoric going with his strengths, not going for the defensive talents, just going more offensive with the Spectral Leech here as well. Against 2 tanks, it's really strong to just get the auto attacks on the tanks, leeching off them as well. And we see the redemption as well.
Yeah, but look at that Vala talent. Vengeance? That is very interesting considering that we have not only Stitches with a slow on level 16, but also that we are seeing at the same time, again, the potential Hellstorm on 20 for Diablo and also the Master of Flames. There seems like there's a lot of talents that can really make Vala's life a living hell, especially considering that she did not go for Spell Shield on 13.
The Bolt is always the most solid talent, I feel like, on Vala at level 20. You could have made the case for going into the Nexus Frenzy, which was kind of greedy. But Vengeance kind of feels odd, since they don't need the damage to win the fights right now. They just need more safety that they don't get dunked on by Li Ming, basically.
I agree with the Nexus Frenzy. I mean, if you have a little bit more range on your auto attacks and already going into Executioner, into Manticore and the Searing attacks, if you get close enough to one of your targets, you can take them down quite easily. Right now, we are about to see level 20s hit on the side of CLG, and once that they have that, I think we're going to see a little bit of a different game. They're going to be much more comfortable going into these team fights, I feel.
I would like to see both tanks pick up Bolt, just to make plays happen. They're going into the Hardened Shield. I think Diablo still might go for the Bolt. We see the Rebirth, we see the Rewind, and the Hardened Shield and the Temporal Flux. And we see the Hellstorm.
Oh, my bad, actually. Like, sorry, I have to correct that real quickly. 13 backdraft for Kalthas. I did not realize that until now, so my apologies for that. We have Rebirth, and I was a bit surprised by that. I was expecting Master Flames because I misread the level 13 talents. My apologies for that.
I also thought it was the other one.
Yeah, nice hook attempt. Yeah, but without Juve on the hero, they don't hit these hooks anymore. There's no magnet attached to the hook any longer.
Yeah, getting blinks on both tanks makes playmaking easier, I would suppose, with Stitches blinking in. Diablo Hellstorm is kind of needed, I would say.
Yeah.
But the blink on Stitches could be expendable to just get a hook on someone.
This is still one of those triples they can let go. Kreku is in a bit of trouble. Gets Entombed. There's the Hellstorm. Massive value. Divine Shield on Vala to save her. Ancestral keeping at least Kalthas alive. And here's the kill against Uther. He has his redemption still, so that's a bit of a problem. Danatan about to fall. Tacita is dead. So is Leoric. Tank is being attacked now. Nice teleport on Nika. He's low in mana, but it's a quad kill. A triple kill. No, actually a quad kill with Uther coming back right now on the side of the CLG. They lost Stitches. Kreku is also dying, but they get the kill against Vala, and now Q is very much alone.
We see that Vala not having Bolt, she could have picked up Li Ming in the fight itself, or she could have just blinked away from the Diablo Hellstorm, which got quite the value. Basically hit 5 men with that Hellstorm, did an insane amount of damage, and basically won the fight on his own.
Diablo was insane in that fight. I mean, that was basically the most value they can get out of a Hellstorm in any kind of setup, so that was pretty much perfect. When it comes to kills, by the way, we have the lead for the Polish team. CLG has 11 versus 8 kills. They just... none of these teams could really capitalize on anything just yet, in the sense that they took down like a keep or even threatened one.
CLG doesn't have the most impactful hero takedowns. They took down Leoric 7 times, and that's like... okay, you killed someone, but he's gonna be back, and he's gonna be back quicker than most of the guys. So the one across the board on the other guys basically are telling the story. Only the last fight was basically decisive. Yeah.
And in that fight, they killed basically... they killed all of the other heroes. It was the first time that they killed, if I'm not mistaken, anyone except Leoric.
Yeah, they did.
So, yeah, Shihu is again looking for that hook. Of course, he didn't go for the fishing hook talent, as already pointed out before. But he still gets the hook against Leoric. Nice free damage. They won't be able to... well, actually, they might be able to take him down with Diablo making those plays here. They have a chance for this. Yes, again, the Hellstorm. Nice damage output. Really nice here. Danatan low, so is Tank. Tic Tac is moving in now too. And Danatan is a problem. He is oh my god, the hook and the kill attempt against Sonya, but the Divine Shield is there. Well played by Uther. Again, Juve with a place. Rebirth has been used. And they are attempting to go for the second tribute. Slow against Tacita. The poke is also true.
He doesn't have any E left anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, and the nice cleanse from Q over the wall. Wow.
Really nice plays on both sides right now, and all of a sudden CLG are really pushing the issue. They're trying to make some plays happen, and these hooks are all of a sudden super solid from Shihu.
As Evil Murkies, I would just regroup. The tribute is not game winning or game losing in that sense. It's only the second tribute for CLG, but they're maybe looking for the boss. No, they're just backing off and going to push some other lane.
Yeah, both of the bosses are going to be are up now, so that's a huge part of the map right now, trying to get one of these bosses. And we are 22 minutes in, so death timers are quite high. There's again the attempt to go for a kill. Heroic abilities are all off cooldown except for Uther's Divine Shield, and that's huge.
Playing with fire. Maybe the Entomb getting better.
Yeah, well, there we go. Putrid Bile has been used, and
Sonya
there comes the Phoenix once again. That's a good one. It's a really good one. Nice zoning. And Rebirth being used, of course, as well. Once again, where's the Entomb? Not being used just yet. Juve, there's the Ancestral. Hellstorm, but Diablo is about to fall. He's down, and Shihu is also about to die here. He gets a quick save, but yep, that's the kill that they needed. And Krakow is now going to fall as well. Q is nearly falling, but not quite. Didn't even have to use the Divine Shield in that fight.
Yeah, Q is really the MVP for me in this game so far. With his clutch cleanses, his good Divine Shields, he basically wins the fight on his own with Sonya together.
And that fight was a bit crazy if you think about it. At the beginning of the fight, we had all the cooldowns on the side of CLG ready. And at the same time, Divine Shield was not. So he didn't even get the chance to use it in that fight. But with nice zoning and with that survivability, thanks to good Tacita shields and also the heals on Uther himself, that worked out really well for them. And this is, of course, a huge opportunity right now for the Evil Murkies. They're not only getting the tribute, they're going to get easily the boss at the bot lane, and they might even get double boss moving to the top.
Tic-Tac also provided nice force walls the last fight. Zoning off the enemy team 3 times with his force wall. Cutting them off from the retreat path and then enabling Leorix and Tomb.
Another problem was once again that Diablo just died too soon. Like, he was really low already when he started to use the Hailstorm, and there was just nobody to save him. That single support against double support is starting to have a bit of a problem for them. And when we're looking at the heals right now, it's 90,000 on the side of Rhaegar. But then we look at Tasta, who has 88,000 heal himself. That's just all that Leeching Plasma coming through, and of course that pre-shield thing that he has. 70,000 on Uther on top of that, and that's not even accounting for the Divine Shield that he's already putting out.
Double boss has been taken here by Evil Murkies. Looking forward to the last tribute fight here.
I feel like they have to let this one go, right? I mean, 6 seconds, can they really go in? And the problem is they have a boss against them. This is a really shitty spot for them.
Danatan could also just entomb them kind of as a force wall.
Yeah.
But they don't need to. Yeah, they let it go. And now I feel like there's a potential way. Oh, the engage is still up.
Entomb is ready, and they try to use it. They are zoning out too. Well done here. Krakow is very much alone. Gets Ancestral maybe a bit early, but I guess you have to at this point. There's the Hellstorm. Arcade is very low on his Vala, but that doesn't help them too much. Again, the kill against Kalthas and the Evil Murkies with great play here. They're trying to follow it up with a kill against Rhaegar, and Tank is going deep for it. Shihu also very low. The keep already gone. The boss still on half health. And the Evil Murkies, they're gonna go for core here.
Boss coming with them. Diablo also dead now. Vala getting the Divine Shield in the last second. I feel like it should be an easy finish now for the Evil Murkies.
Yeah.
Shihu's still trying to make something happen, but
the boss is on the core. There's the kill. At least Sonya is there, but it's not going to be enough. Redemption is going to bring Uther back, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the tie in the best of 3 series here. The Evil Murkies with a bit of an unconventional draft, making it happen and taking Cursed Hollow, tying the series and forcing game number 3. The last best of 3 series of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Tomb of the Spider Queen is our first map. We have Team Oink going up against CLG, and if you think you saw that series already, then you are at least partially right, because we've seen this already in the winner bracket, but now we are in the loser bracket final. And the winning team here will make it out of the tiebreaker to tomorrow's qualifier. Losing team, on the other hand, is going to be eliminated from the tournament already and will not be able to get a shot at play for the qualification for Dreamhack Tour. I'm not alone. With me is AntiHero. This is also our first map, by the way, in the best of 3 series here. As you can see, the draft has already started, and we see in this case now bans on Illidan. CLG has thrown all of the best of 3 series today into nothing else but only ban on Illidan. Khaldor's finally being banned out as well.
And we're playing Tomb, not Infernal, by the way.
Yeah, I already pointed out.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. Yeah, but a bit of a different map. Like the confusion, because we got a different draft a bit earlier on which was noted that we play or start things off with Infernal Shrines today, which is not the case. Tazada picked early here for CLG on this map, a counter with Li Ming and Johanna for Team Oink, and we have a Zul play right now with CLG still needing to pick another hero. So yeah, AntiHero, what do you think about the draft so far? And I mean, given that we had a very close series between the two teams in the winner bracket, what's your personal expectation for the series in total?
I think it's going to be quite an interesting series again. I believe that it's going to be a 2-1 again. I'm not really sure which team yet. I feel like I'm leaning towards CLG again, but the teams are quite on a close level here. And on first sight, we didn't have a single Xul yet today.
Yeah, it's the first one. He was neither banned nor taken so far.
Yeah. And
I like that they switched from Stitches to Zagara, to be honest with you.
I mean, I quite fancy Stitches a lot, but on this map especially with the Hungry for More. But they want to get Zagara for the lane control, a little bit more safe pick, I guess. And the Xul for the rotations is also pretty strong. Oink, though, with the Li Ming and Johanna, kind of have a good rotation squad already with pick of potential.
That is also a lot of pressure play that we have with Zul and Zagara. I mean, the only thing that basically misses in the mix is the Sylvanas, and you have the dream team for pushing tower, right?
I mean, you could also throw an Asmo Dunk in there, but I mean, we still have to make a composition out of that.
I can totally see an Asmodaan here. Like the days when we had Tomb of the Spider Queen being like the home court of Asmodaan, those were the days. I really liked that a lot. I would not mind seeing Asmodaan again, but I highly doubt this is going to be the series where he makes his comeback.
Yeah.
It doesn't really surprise me, by the way, that Thrall is being banned out. We've been talking about like the push heroes on the side of CLG, and when we're talking bot lane on Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's very often the case that you see Zagara and Zul there. Thrall is one of those solo laners that you can also play. What do you think Oink can actually put at the solo lane right now to like counterplay that a bit?
You know what I would pick? I would pick Chen,
Chen.
Yeah? It's a pretty good pick on this map as well. It's like one of Shen's more stronger maps, I would say, since there's like a dedicated 1v1 lane. And against Zagara, it's quite good to lane with Shen, because you can deny the creep, you can out-sustain her, you can do basically everything you want to her, except dying. So that's kind of a good pickup.
Yeah, they don't like your idea, though. They go for the Stitches instead.
Now they still have to figure out who are they going to put on the bottom. I see their composition for this map, but I don't see anyone they want to put on the bottom lane so far. Maybe the Stitches. He isn't a bad 1v1 laner. He has clearing with his poison, he has clearing with his cleaver, and he has self-sustain with his E. But if it's really enough for Zagara, I'm not really sure.
CLG, they have the pressure, they have a Tazada as solo support. Not really what you want to have against the Lunara, so it's quite likely that we're going to have a second support for them now as well. Rhaegar is still available. We could also like see, I suppose even depending on how they feel about it. Yeah, I think Rhaegar is a little bit more likely. I was thinking about Malfurion because both of these teams have actually, especially CLG, have played Malfurion quite a bit. Rhaegar is a pretty solid choice here, though. Has also then the the lightning shield that you can use to take the web weavers out a little bit faster. As a frontliner, Antti, what do you think? Are we going to see a Muradin in this setup? I don't think
Muradin's banned. So
oh yeah, you're right.
I would say ETC would be fine. Lunara, Li Ming cannot interrupt, except Li Ming goes way for force, which is quite good actually. Citrus and Johanna are most likely gonna get caught, but Johanna still can use a trade with a condemn to deny it. So Leoric is kind of risky, but I think it might be better than ETC already for this map.
That's a ton of wave clear, by the way. I mean, that is insane what they have on the board.
I don't like CLG's draft at all. I have to say, yes, they have wave clear. They do a lot of good things for rotations. I mean, what can you do against Leoric and Xul slamming your minions? Nothing, basically.
Right now it feels like what they are going to do is just like try to not fight and just push. Because in a team fight, I would definitely give the upper hand to Oink.
Yeah, it looks like a more kind of cheesy composition, I would say, than the CLG composition. Because you have to think about who does damage in CLG's team. I mean, there's the Poison Nova, yeah. There's Zagara with more, maybe. But who else? Who else is gonna really do damage? Leoric maybe to the tanks, but
it's also not on point damage. It's like nothing where you say like, okay, you take a single target down, whereas we have a Li Ming on the other side, we have a Lunara, and that seems to be just a bit more, a little bit more focused when it comes to the damage itself. A Poison Nova is nice, but it's just like spread damage, and Malfurion is very good to negate that.
Yeah.
And I feel like the idea really is to control lanes, have the wave clear, push them back, and snowball with the first web weaver waves.
Yeah, but looking at Oink to have their synergies pointed out, they do have like a hook into root composition, which can get followed up by Li Ming. They also have Stitches, Putrid Ball with Unfair Advantage, level 13 talent from Lunara, which quite of supplies them with a lot of damage over time. Malf, as you already pointed out, who's gonna take down Malf? There's not really any pressure against Malf whatsoever. There's no real damage output.
Maybe an Entomb, but like even with an Entomb, if he goes Ice Block 13, he's not gonna have a problem with that either. And even if you hit an Entomb, if you go for Entomb in the first place and don't take
who's gonna burst him in the Entomb?
Exactly. So there's a couple of problems for CLG, some questions they have to answer in the game. We're going to go into the first game. We're going to find out what the thought process behind this is, if they can make it happen, or if Oink takes them down on the first map here in the last best of 3 series, the loser bracket final between Team Oink and CLG. Game number 1 in the best of 3 series, everybody. Team Oink versus Casual Logic Gaming, the first game in the best of 3 series. And to the left side, we have Ziku on Johanna, Suris on Lunara, Mopsio on Stitches, Lunon on Malfurion, and Wolfjoe on Li Ming. And to the right side of the map, an interesting composition here for Casual Logic Gaming, playing it with a lot of wave clear. Nika on Zagara, we have Leo from Korea and Rhaegar, Shihu on Zul, Juf on Leoric, and Kreku is playing Tacita. They seem to like a little bit of team fight potential, but we're going to find out if that's true or not in this game now. First game of the series, and already some interesting talents taken here, as AntiHero and I are going to bring you the coverage for this best of 3.
Yeah, looking at Xul, for example, with the adaptation on the backlash, normally you would see the Shackler most of the times to dodge the basic attacks, but there's not enough value only against Lunara, and against double tank, ripping 50% of the HP off is kinda a good thing to do.
Yeah, speed for Rhaegar, again, already mid-lane commitment here by both teams. Zagara at the bot lane, and it seems like Stitches is going to have the great job of laning against her. Not really a lot of good solo laners on the side of the blue team, so they have to use Stitches in this case. Nika should have a pretty easy time winning this lane down here. Has of course to be a bit careful, since there could always be rotations heading his way. But overall, the wave clear on the side of the casuals is pretty fantastic.
Yeah. At level 7, Mopsio might get the bite talent that he gets reduced cooldowns. Last bite, I think it's called. And therefore he could maybe win the lane against... He could eat Zagara's roaches or the Hydralisk just to sustain himself while denying the damage on himself. But that's kind of far-fetched, because level 7 is far away for now.
Yeah, and he's already eating a lot of damage, as you can see down here. He's on half HP, whereas the rotation is still ongoing in the mid and top lane. But as we said before, the team fight potential seems to be a bit better on the side of Team Oink. So that's one of the big advantages that they will have in this game, and they're going to try and use that. Shihu is locked down. Oh, but so is Johanna, and she is dead. Malfurion, on the other hand, might... Wow. I mean, Lunon is able to escape. It could be a turnaround kill. Oh, the hook! Kreku gets blasted to pieces, and Juve is also about to fall. Nice counter kill. 2 of them actually happening now against the casuals.
Yeah, that was quite of a nice turnaround by the by Team Oink here. And Shiro also low, getting hooked there.
Yeah, like the entire time the hooks of Mopsio are pretty solid.
Oh, the well might save him though.
Yeah, Shihu is going to be saved. But still, like that opening, if you think about it, all started with a kill against Johanna, and it turned around with a double kill played by Team Oink. Yeah, just looking really solid here, and it would have been great for the casuals to get that early kill and then maybe a bit more pressure on the lanes itself so that they can snowball with those web weavers, because I still feel like that's more or less what they have to do in this game, right?
Yeah, I still feel like if the snowball isn't coming, that the team Oink will just like win this game by quite a big time in team fights. So also at level 7, if Lunara gets Nature's Culling already, and Johanna has Night Takes Pawn, and Malfurion has the Moonburn, there's so much D-push as well, and I feel like that maybe CLG overkilled it with their wave clear, that they don't even need it that much.
What do you think about, like, well, wait one moment, Shihu is again in a little bit of trouble over here. We have also Leo in a lot of that. Yeah, there's the hook again, and Rega is down. That's the third kill now for Team Oink, and they are looking strong, nearly taking down Tacita too, who has to well up. Very shaky start now for the casuals. But what I wanted to ask is, how do you feel about like swapping out that Zul maybe with the Sylvanas? You have a little bit more teamfight potential with her, but you still have a lot of wave clear and also like pressure play with Sylvanas on lanes. Do you think that might have been a bit of a better choice?
I like the Xul. I have to say, I wouldn't swap out the Xul. I would maybe swap out the Tassada, even though he got first pick. They probably didn't know in which direction the draft is going to head. But I feel like swapping out the Tassada and maybe instead of getting Tassada, getting like a Jaina maybe? I'm not sure, maybe some more damage. Maybe Vala is always solid, right? So putting some more damage in there would be fine, and then getting a little bit of CC with that. Sylvanas would be fine, but they might as well like damage. Meanwhile in the middle, Zico getting engaged though.
Yeah, and well, for now it looks like Johanna might actually fall. 18 gems on her right now. But overall, Zhu has to move away with a quick Wraith Walk. Went into Fealty onto Death once again on level 4, so we're not seeing the Hardened Bones here. Very popular talent on the other hand to take on this map in particular. We're seeing still Feral Heart taken. Bot lane, Zagara is doing her thing against Stitches still, and well, Mopsio gets even a bit of reinforcement by Suris trying to help out. But you can see that both of the towers are already out of ammunition, so Zagara is doing exactly what we kind of expected here and winning the lane.
Yeah, but the rotations middle and top are not that overwhelming that the turrets are dropping, so it's fine to send one guy down to the bottom to just help them out, the Mopsio that is, but that didn't help him quite enough there.
Yeah, it was a good rotation from the casuals, making sure that they get the kill here. And there's actually quite a few gems that were also lost. That's always a bit of a problem. There's still enough gems to make the first turn-in happen, but both of the turn-ins are currently guarded by the opponent's team, by the casuals.
Yeah,
having on level
the turn-in though, and Nika gets a turn-in through.
Red team with the turn-in. Nature's Culling, by the way, taken on level 7 as expected. Conviction, we have the Tenderizer, plus also after Rampant Growth, now the Enduring Growth taken for Malfurion. And a few talents that is also quite interesting. I mean, Austin's Renewal taken for Leoric. We've been talking about him being the only tank for his team, the solo tank here with the reanimation and the Austin's Renewal. His cooldown reduction is going to be pretty much incredible when he dies. Rapid Incubation also for lane sustain for Zagara now.
Yeah, the weapons are not getting too much value, only on the bottom. On the top in the middle, the turrets already still have the shots left. And at the bottom, there's no shots left, and so the weapons are just going through to the fort there.
It's actually a little bit annoying for Suris that he's not on a lane where he can just like burst the web weaver down with his Nature's Culling. That's a huge problem, but with 4 heroes at the bot lane here, Lunara just can't get close enough to the web weaver to really make anything happen, and now they lose a fort, so that bit of a snowball that we've been talking about, the attempt is definitely happening. The first fort is down, top lane. We've seen 2 of the towers destroyed. And that is, all of a sudden, a massive lead in experience for the casuals.
That's what we have been talking about. Getting the web weavers early is the way how CLG are going to dominate this game and trying to snowball. They're doing a really good job so far. 1 level lead, but we don't have to overestimate it unless it's the level 10 advantage. Level 10 versus 11, I still give the edge, even though it's like stat advantage, to the team of Oink here, because they have, as we already mentioned a couple of times, the stronger setup overall in team fights.
Skeleton Mages have now been taken. I feel it makes sense. Looking at that Malfurion and Tranquility, Poison Nova, not really having the perfect follow-up for it, Skeleton Mages can definitely do something for you. I think that we will definitely see a second Web Weaver wave for the red team before the blue team gets their first one. They just try and struggle to go to level 10, and they need that to defend the next wave. They're very close though. And Rhaegar is already turning in. We have 7 that are missing. Shihu is already on point, and we are having... Well, this is carrying the gems.
One
They have-
gem is still missing.
Yeah, they're lacking 1. And there's the level 10, so maybe the blue team is able to turn in themselves now.
Yeah, they do get, have the hard cap right now, so they get vision of the mid lane for quite some time and have the red team deal with it. So maybe they will get to turn into the bottom, but already Juve interrupting here.
Zico has 41 gems. He needs to be careful here, but if he gets the turning completed, then they of course have another web weaver. Wait for the first one for them. We had Zul now starting to rotate around as well. 5 gems are missing on the side of the casuals. The lockdown with the Bone Prison against Mob, so he gets healed though. Ancestral even for Zul. Maybe a bit early from Leo here, but saving Zul for now.
But you could see the full combo of Zul and Zagara hitting all her creeps, Hydralisk and Rotis on him. Did 50% of Stitches, and he just got 1 Malfurion heal, and he basically is full HP again. So this is the kind of problem they are dealing with for now.
Yeah, nice and Tomb against Mopsio. Is there gonna be another heal? Lunan is finally there, but it's already too late. The kill is successful. Juve is able... Oh, gets healed and shielded just before he falls. So a good kill in this scenario against Stitches. That really helped. Didn't lose any gems because there were enough heroes around to pick them up again. But we're having now the second web weaver wave coming in, and with Stitches not even there to help out, that's of course a bit of a problem. But at least we have heroic abilities available for Team Oink to defend against them.
Looking at the level advantage, it's still 1 level lead, even though it's the second turn in already, so it's not that team CLG is gonna get the biggest lead of the experience right now. It is a little bit more than before after this turn-in, but it's still that Oink isn't out of the game yet.
Yeah, but level 13 is very close, and of course Lunara is going to try and de-push these waves as fast as she can. We already saw in the mid lane how much damage the Nature Culling actually does to it, but we have still pressure in the mid lane where another fort might fall, and level 13 is there. That's a 1.5 level lead that we already see, and that's exactly the snowball that they were looking for, and they might get that, so Oink has to be careful here.
Yeah, there's always the potential for the hook right now, but with the short hook range, it's not gonna be possible that easy. Also, you have to see who you're gonna hook. Leoric is not gonna be a useful target. Same for Tassada. So there are only 3 really viable targets to hook here, and then with the short range and the fast rotations, it's really hard for Mobster to get value on his hooks for now.
Corpse Explosion has also now been taken, and we have still that lead in levels. We have 99 damage, 100 gems right now, 99 a second ago. So with all those gems, they can more or less complete 2 turn-ins, as they are still getting a few more. Wisp is checking boss for now, but they need that level 13. If they can turn in again, that would be great for them, but at the same time, we're also seeing the casuals trying to look for the turn-in number 3. There's still a couple of gems short, 18 in total actually. Hook attempt again, but as you already pointed out, AntiHero, it's still without the level 16 talent, and that's an issue, since they just can't lock those heroes down.
Yeah, there's also, like, sometimes you can fight with a talent down, because your team is not gonna is not profiting enough of the level, let's say in this case level 13. But for Oink especially here, they wanna wait for 13. Lunara with the unfair advantage, if it's Johanna with the burning rate just to clear the creep, or the Stitches with the bigger smash, they are all valuable talents. There's like no talent where you say, yeah, I don't really need that one. In my opinion, we can fight here. So they still have to get on the easy talent footing here, and it's gonna be 13 versus 14. So that might be the next chance to fight, but as we can already see, enough gems to be paid in again by CLG here.
Yeah, and that's something that they have to prevent, I feel, and they're trying to do exactly that, but it's gonna be very, very close. We are seeing them moving in, 13 versus 13, the unfair advantage is there. 2 gems short of a turn-in, and right now the opportunity for Team Oink to maybe get their first web weaver wave, that would be an important one to take. But Tassada is already attempting to turn in up at the top. Lunan is too late. This is another web weaver wave for the red team, and that is a huge problem right now for Team Oink.
Yeah, and we could also really see Leoric 1 versus 4 denying the pay-ins by Oink here, and he just gets hooked, but it's not like Leoric would care if he has his E ready and he just great walks out of there. And that's basically the problem for the story of this game so far. Stitch is not getting enough value out of his hooks, and the rotation is being too slow.
Yeah, there's another Entomb attempt, but this time not locking anybody down. Lunan with a very early Tranquility here, a little bit too early for my liking, to be honest with you. Suris is starting to move in. They're getting good pressure against the opponent here, ignoring the Web Weavers for now, trying to get their kills early. Juve is going to fall if they play their cards right, and the shield is saving him for now. There's only Lunara with the damage, nobody else really going for him. They have to move back again, but all of a sudden we are seeing the casuals trying to turn it around. More and Bone Prison hitting at the same time. Again, Juve moving away here. Hook not hitting. The Web Reapers still going for the keeps though.
Yeah, the team of the Oink is pretty low right now. They might just continue chasing. Shiho is really low, they get Ancestral.
Yeah, Ancestral coming through.
Oh,
there's the Force Wall. Mopsio in trouble. Here comes the Bone Prism. Another Tomb against Ziku. He has nearly 60 gems. They need to be careful with him. Move back. The wall has not fallen completely, but the Web Weavers are still at the top.
Ziku out of the wall here.
Lunara is finally there. Ziku just barely moving away and dies. The gems are collected, but Johanna is down and level 16 talents are ready for the red team.
Yeah, that was kind of a nice pick-up in the end, but it feels like CLG again is like trying to hurt the enemies with like foam swords here.
I really feel that Oink misplayed early on. They had a very nice situation and then they lose Stitches at the bot lane to that very obvious rotation that we saw from the casuals. And the game really snowballs against them. Exactly what we said about earlier. Like, once you snowball, then the casuals have a chance. And they snowball way too hard. There were several opportunities for Oink to get their Web Weavers and they did not successfully turn in. So right now they hold 127 gems and they are 2 levels behind. Like, they kind of gave this game up.
There's always those situations on Tomb of the Spider Queen where you call it the stale situation or like a stalemate. The red team, for example, now they don't have gems, they cannot turn in.
Yep.
Do they want to do boss? Not really against 5 men, 5 versus 5. They cannot really pull that off. So it's basically like, while the red team would like to do something, they cannot. There's no objective in reach of them. And it's like, they cannot really collect the gems that easily, meaning is like, look at Shifu for example at the bottom now. He went out too far and now he's getting engaged on him.
Yeah, but there's still the Ancestral and now he could turn against it. Now they have to fight with the talent disadvantage. The more is there. Again, Trank being used. This time they're trying to save Wolf Joe and they do. Lunan has to be careful there. Suris is dishing out the damage, trying to make that happen. They have a talent disadvantage, but they still get that kill against Juve. Do they? Yes, they do. So Juve is down, and maybe now they can finally turn in. If they can make that work, even someone moving just to the top turn-in spot would help them here. Lunan completing it, and that might be the chance to start the comeback.
Yeah, that's what I've been talking about. There was nothing on the map, in particular for CLG here, and Team Oink could just relax, take the deep breath and kind of soak EXP and maybe seize their chances on a guy overextending. You could see Xul on the bottom just overextending for EXP and for the gems. And that's kind of Oink pulled the trigger and just engaged on him. Now, it's a good thing that they didn't lose the gems earlier, which sometimes happens if the one team is just snowballing you hard. They didn't though, and just secure themselves a turn, and that's a chance to come back. Because they might secure 2 in a row, actually.
Let's not forget that they have also on level 7 the Nature's Culling. That's going to help them push down the towers now. And that is extra experience. Now we have both of the teams on level 16, and as you pointed out, they still hold a lot of gems. As long as they don't die here, they should be able to get at least a second turn in, and if they play their cards right, even a third turn in is within their reach. But they have to go for the fight right now. That team fight potential is pretty huge. We talked about it earlier. Let's see if they can make it happen. Lunan is already in a little bit of trouble. He doesn't have his Tranquility up just yet using the Ice Block, but Shiku is incredibly low. He's about to fall here, and he has 21 gems that he currently holds. He's dead. Nobody's going for the gems as we speak, and Suris on his Lunara is still trying to go for a second kill against Leoric. Leo is not even there. He's just now moving in, and the casuals making a bit of a misplay in this situation.
And now with level 16 talents, Mirror Ball and Seeker get a lot of value on the boss. You can just damage the boss for 2k damage every 3 seconds, which is kind of insane pushing that one down.
Yeah, boss is being attacked, but it's a 4 versus 5 situation, and it seems like the casuals are willing to go for it, at least for a moment, but boss is taken. And again, Leoric moving away. Turn in can happen any moment right now. They're trying to go for the kill against Juve. Wraithwalk is in cooldown. Not for much longer, but still they attempt to go for the kill here. Boss is already pushing the top lane. Zagara the only one pressuring against it. And here comes another turn-in attempt now by the blue team. They still hold 130 gems. That's 2 turn-ins in a row, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty insane with the boss as well. They might as well just secure the top keep here.
Yeah, they're going for it, and I mean, I don't really blame them. Look at the damage output that we're seeing on there, and we've been talking about that teamfight potential through the entire game. And with that 1 kill against the casuals, all of a sudden the chance for momentum is given to the blue team, and they're using it. Tranquility has been used. They're trying to save Stitches. Mopsio is really low, gets Maud, which in this case actually works in his favor. And that keep is going to fall. Mopsio is still alive. It's a 5 versus 5 on the map. The keep is down. The web weavers are starting to move back in. First keep eliminated. And that experience lead that we've seen already earlier on the side of the casuals is shrinking rapidly.
Interesting talent choice by Citrus to not go for the pulverize or the fishing hook or the shish kebab on this map. He basically went for the stone skin here, just trying to be more safe than he already is, I guess, and trying to not die to the Leoric W.
Yeah, mid lane towers are now taken out too, by the way, and at the bot lane we're seeing a similar picture once again. The situation is actually like turning against the casuals very rapidly. They have to even move back right now. Everybody is just like heading back, leaving the web weaver at the bot lane alone, but the 2 towers are going to get eliminated either way. Experience lead is still there for the casuals, but it's a very small one, and as we pointed out before, they can just simply turn in again.
Yeah, it's the 3rd turn in a row, and that would maybe even secure them level 20, but maybe also level 20 for CLG on the line soon here.
Yeah, so we're talking about damage, by the way. We're having Lunara with 71,000 damage. Currently, Zul with 186k and Slimming with 136k, the top siege damage dealers for their team. Zagara, when it comes to hero damage, still taking the top shots here for the side of the casuals. But Oink is really back in this. If they get that turn in, that would be amazing for them. And the kill count is currently 5 versus 5. Oink wants to fight here. They are totally happy fighting before level 20.
Yeah, level 20 approaching for CLG here, but there's the engage on Tassada.
Oh, Tassada gets away. Juve gets healed. Wow, barely not able to take him down here. And well, with level 20 is not available just yet. Again, we have the damage output. The root is there against the Auric. He even gets hooked and is about to fall. And Tomb does nothing for him in his setup. The Maw doesn't hit anybody either. And this is a horrible position right now for the casuals, even though they are so close to their Storm Talons.
Yeah, kind of a good comeback here, but as we already mentioned, it's just not really reasonable for CLG just to go fighting here. They should have just maybe went to get soak 20 and then try to get like the last push going with level 20 versus 19, even if the web weavers are descending now. Now they kind of gave up a kill for not so much reason, and look, they're still at 20 before Oink here, and they could have used that time to just fight here, but Oink, they will just get level 20 now as well, and kind of even out the board again.
It really felt like they seem to be feeling the pressure play, and they were trying to make sure that there's no turn-in, but that turn-in happened either way. Now there could be an Entomb though, and that's an Entomb against Lunan. He has his Ice Block still that he can use. Tranquility has been used here. Ice Block apparently in cooldown, my bad. And he goes down. That's actually a huge play on the side of the casuals now, even with the web weavers pushing. They get Ziku too. That's quite a few gems that are being lost here, and that double kill all of a sudden with a level 20 advantage is putting a huge dent into that comeback that we've seen from team in blue.
Yeah, that's what I've been talking about. They should have just went for the 20 and then immediately fight. Luna got engaged on by the skeletal mages of Xul, and then he needed to run away, got the bone prison on him, he dodged it nicely with the ice block, and then in the end just got caught by the Entomb here. Also the mortal wound on Xul in this case.
Like, talking about the mortal wound for a moment, I kind of like it against Malfurion, but I would have loved for him to pick up a few more talents going down that road on 13 and 16.
Yeah, I would have liked him to go for the cooldown reduction, at least. But I think it's a fine choice overall still. But yeah, with another talent it might have been more, it would have more strength behind it.
Yeah, would have been giving them a little bit more value here. Overall, though, we have a web weaver wave again for the casuals. I mean, this game is getting really interesting at this point, but we have 20 versus 20, and I feel that's a little bit of a disadvantage right now for the casuals, because their teamfight potential is not really catering towards the situation. They won the last fight because of a talent advantage that they had. Now they have the web weavers pushing. They could have actually, even in a 5 versus 3 scenario, gone for keep at the top lane, I feel, when they got the double kill. They were already at the top lane. The wall is more or less down, so I really think they could have gone for a kill and just let the web weavers push through the walls on their end. Would at least have given them a bit of a top lane advantage.
Engage in the middle of Kriko almost immediately better.
Yeah, I mean, they tested. I was in so much trouble here. Oh, more being used at the same time as Entomb. That didn't really work out in their favor. Here comes the Malfurion, and that's nice heals there. Zico is still a bit careful with his plays, but of course he has Indestructible now too. Malfurion with great healing power, and that web weaver wave has been defended against immediately. Well played by Team Oink. And still the casuals trying to go for a kill against the keep. I mean, they need to make something happen right now. There's the ice block on the other hand as Lunan is being attacked once more. Juve moves away, trying to escape. There's the hook and the ancestral Shihu is safe for now. Juve is very low though. Leo out of mana. They have to retreat. I don't even think they can push the top lane any longer. They keep barely surviving.
One Storm will do it now. Look at Kriko, he's already going down.
He's really tempted, isn't he? He's like, do a suicide for it, and then he's like, yeah.
Look at the bottom though, it's also gonna die, the keep. I think it would have been fine for Kriko to maybe go in there. I believe he would have gotten away, but getting the keep at the bottom already is enough here. And it was a nice strategy of CLG to just put the pressure on the middle, kind of letting the side web weavers go their own way, pushing the wave up and then going for the structures. On the bottom, it worked entirely. There was a whole wall still standing there and they got the keep for free basically. At the top, the keep was exposed, but it got it to 1 HP, so it might get taken down at one point by a random minion wave or a random spell from Tassada.
Look at the numbers, by the way. 260,000 siege damage on Zur. 150,000 damage taken on Leoric. He's really the punching ball of his team at this point. And, I mean, that's a bit incredible. Nice hook, by the way, against Tassada, but of course he gets away, so not really a lot of that they got out of this one. Still trying to fight here, and I mean, Lunara is just like jumping in wither shots the entire time, trying to finally get a kill for a team. There's no turn-in potential on the side of Team Oink. They just don't have enough gems.
Yeah, still looking at the numbers, even though its numbers, the damage on Lunara is kind of over time all the time. Oh, they engaged at the top though.
Yeah, big engage here, nice lockdown, more again, but that kill against Leoric, no, the Ancestral is there again. Zico is proccing his Indestructible, but we have Malfurion with the Tranquility using the Ice Block too. Shihu is so low, he's finally down, and that's the kill against Leoric now as well. So once again, Li Ming with a cooldown resets. And she can maybe go for another one, but they are going for boss and win the 5 vs 3 situation with all of them on full HP, nearly full mana with the exception of Malfurion. There's nobody to deny that to them.
Yeah, if they get the boss now, look at CLG though, they try to maybe make a backdoor play happen here. They're going through the bottom is exposed. They know if the boss is going to call, they are not gonna do it. So Mopsio is taking it on its own with Lunan, and 3 people are already recalling here.
Yeah, everybody's recalling, at least most of them. And Vega is not even moving back. They're trying to make it happen. There's no chance of this happening, in my opinion. Leo is already dead. There's the kill against Nika, and with 50% on the core, what is... Nothing. Tassada just gets blown up. Juve is trying to ride in on the poverty horse, but that's not gonna happen either. Yeah.
They made the best out of a lost situation. They tried to go for the core, maybe if the boss was kind of annoying them with the tornado, stopping the recalls or something, they maybe could have gotten it a little bit closer, but yeah, there was nothing to be done in that situation.
Not really. You're totally right. I mean, they know that if boss is taken, since the keep at the top lane has already been destroyed, that the game's over. So in this case, there's not really a lot that they can do. They were trying to go for it. It was a Hail Mary. Didn't work out for them. There's the victory for Team Oink, taking the lead in the best of 3 series here now in the loser bracket final. Well played by Oink. Let's head straight into game number 2.